Good morning, everybody. Uneducated Economist here. So I thought I would do another video on that essay on economic theory written by Cantillon back in the 1700s. And it's pretty good stuff. You think about like the 1700s, they didn't have anything of the modern conveniences like we have today, and their economy was much different. But some of the ideas that Cantillon puts into this essay still relate very much to today. And the third chapter of this essay is titled Villages, and it's pretty good. Like, when I first read it, I'm like, yeah, this really doesn't relate to today. Because in this chapter, he's basically saying that these villages, or little tight knit communities, will be inhabitants that are suitable for the land. I don't know if I quite said that right, but the way he kind of relates it is that if the land is suitable for sheep herding, then the inhabitants of that are probably not going to be a very robust, giant community, because really you don't need a whole lot of people to tend to the sheep, to the flock of sheep. So that community is going to be fairly small, and it's only going to be suitable for what the land can provide for the inhabitants within that village. And so I think about that comparatively to today. Now, today we have a lot more like communications, we got transportations, we got a lot of things that are so different from back in the 1700s that it doesn't seem like this village chapter quite applies in the same context as today because of our advanced technologies. But then I got to thinking about it a little bit, and it was just like, no, it really does still kind of, have some merit today, because I was thinking about, like, in the essay, he's talking about like what the village would be like for the inhabitants. Okay. So like if the inhabitants are, the wealthy kind who live there, then you're probably going to have a lot of things that are geared towards the servants of those wealthy people. I don't know if I said that quite right, but basically, if you have a lot of money sitting in that particular area and you have a lot of people who are serving those wealthy people, then you're going to need a community that also provides for the servants of those people. Okay. Now you got to think this is the 1700s, so using the term servants is kind of weird, but that's kind of what he was getting at, and as far as the village goes. So I think about my little town right here, and we're a major logging and fishing community, and so like we have canneries, we have like mills, we have a lot of things that deal with processing the logs from the land and the fish from the sea. So we are kind of like a village within ourselves here that have to have other factors coming into it. Like you have to have mechanics to work on all the logging equipment and the fishing equipment. You have to have, like, you know places that, like I said, the canneries to process. You have to have transportation to get the product away from here. There's a lot of things that have to come together in order to build this logging and fishing community. And I got to thinking, I was just like, well, yeah, but there's a lot of people who live in this village who don't work here. In fact, I heard of somebody who just left this area, moved all the way over to Asia somewhere, like Taiwan or something, and now remotely works back here in Astoria again. And so I think about it, it's just like, yeah, this village concept doesn't quite play into the same realms as today, because we have all this like remote working and transportation and easy access to communication, things that just didn't exist back in the day. But then I think, okay, if this village right here provides for the inhabitants, what is it that's here that's providing for the inhabitants? And that's when it dawned on me. I know this sounds kind of confusing, I'm rambling a little bit, but this is when it dawned on me about how this village chapter still plays very much into modern times. And that is that my community here has grown immensely large population of retired folks. And it dawned on me after reading this village why it is that we have such a large, like, medical district growing here in Astoria. I remember when I was in high school, we had pretty much the hospital and another like medical office, and they were pretty small and not a whole lot of buildings like medical centers, like cancer treatments or dialysis or anything like that. Now, this town, Astoria, is filled with a lot a lot of medical field type buildings. I mean, brand new ones. And it just amazes to me. It was amazing me. I'm like, why are we growing so big with this medical district here in Astoria? And then it dawned on me, it's because we have so many retirees and there's going to be a demand for it. So the village concept still very much plays into modern economics. And I think about like all the smaller stuff that goes along with it. It's not just the village like growing to be suitable, like the things that are the businesses within the village growing suitable for the inhabitants, but then also all the sub like jobs that come from it. Like I said, like when you're thinking about the fishing, you got all the people who process the fish, who transport the fish. Same thing with the logging. All the people who are like logging mechanics, the logging equipment, even like the gear itself that the loggers wear. Like, it's a specialized gear. Cork boots are not really used for anything other than logging. Right? Cork boots are these big heavy work boots with spikes on the bottom so you can run around on the logs without slipping. I mean, this type of stuff doesn't exist really in anywhere else. Like, you're not going to go to Vegas and find logging equipment, right? It only exists in places where they log. And so you have to have a village that's suitable for the products that come from that area. And that's what I thought was interesting, is to think that this medical district is building a facility that is suitable for the inhabitants because we have so many retirees here. At least that's the conclusion that I came from it. What else did I want to add in on that? I don't know. There was something else I wanted to talk about that, but I guess I can't remember what it was. Oh well. Anyway, I guess I'll leave it at that. Uneducated Economist. You guys let me know.